that the first module we do for a people leaders program is called Role of the People Leader and Situational Leadership. So I'm going to take you all through an actual learning session, and you would, I'm not sure how many of you are leading people for the first time, but it applies to anybody who's leading people. I've got CEOs sitting there saying that, hey, you know what, it's easier to manage operations and bottom line, but it's tough to lead a team of people. And they also sit in and they enjoy the situational leadership and all these learnings that we're going to show you. My name is Anju, and I am a leadership skills trainer. My background is almost 25 to 28 years of experience in the corporate world. 95% of it has been in leading L&D and training functions. So worked with organizations like Standard Chartered Bank, Accenture, Goldman Sachs Bank, and Capgemini as head of training. In Goldman Sachs, it was called Goldman Sachs University. For the India office, I was the head. Now, having been there, I just moved out of the corporate world and decided to do this because I like coaching, mentoring, and guiding young leaders to, become successful. And I like to share a lot from my failures, things that I did wrong. So, people leaders like yourself don't make the same mistakes. Also share some successes, but I really like sharing the failures so that you don't do it again. And, this has been about 7 years since we started TeamWorks. Ujjwal's the CEO, and Selvin, we have another partner, and they call me the CIO, saying you're the Chief Interference Officer or something like that. But on a lighter note, Ujjwal, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, just keeping time in mind, like Anju mentioned, TeamWorks is close to 8 years old now, and both Anju, myself, and Selvin, the co-founders, three of us actually have a learning and development experience. So I carry an expertise in human resource, employee engagement. I'm also a team building specialist. So the element of gamification, activity-based design thinking is what we bring in our training. And Anju complements because she's a leadership expert. So all that, we are not a slide-heavy company, but we are a story and an experience-heavy training that we conduct. And that's how we blend this learning. So you would see today in the demo, it's a combination of the leadership concept with the online virtual activity that we have planned for all of you. So this is going to be a journey that we want to take across. And what we truly believe in TeamWorks, wherever there's a team, we would like to engage, whether it's training, team building, or bringing in the sense of learning through gamification is what we truly believe. I'm very happy to be here and glad that we've got time to do this demo with all of you. And it's very interesting, yeah.
Thank you, Ujjwal. Thank you for that. And having said that, we would also like to know each one of you. This is the module we're going to cover today. I gave you a little bit of a context. I'll tell you the learning objectives in a bit. We'll cover this. This is the introductions. We would like to know you as well. So usually if there are about 30 people, we request you to introduce yourself on chat. But now, if you could unmute yourself and tell us your name, role, department, the function you are in, and the size of the team that you're leading currently. If you don't have a team, it's fine. You could say that as well, because many people who attend this say, oh, it's in good time that we learned all this before getting into a people leader role. And then your current location and your native place and its beauty. So like, for example, I'm logging in from Bangalore, but my native place or the place I was born in was Mumbai. And I think the speciality of Mumbai, people would say, is the stock exchange, but the financial capital of India. But I think it's more special because of its charts and pav bhajis and vada pavs and all of that. And your one strength in leading a team, I think I empower people. I really love empowering and delegating them. We'll see that in a bit in the styles of leadership. So I would request each one of you to also share about yourself quickly in 1 or 2 lines on these on these parameters. Okay. So I would request Himaja or Shreya to go first. Give ladies the chance first.
Hemant wants to go first.
No, I wanted to go, but since she mentioned, I think
No,
you can
it's
go.
okay. You go first, Hemant.
It's okay. I'm not biased, but I just like,
No, actually, Hemant was all excited when you mentioned that. He said, "Okay, let them go first."
Sure, Hemant, please go ahead.
Yeah. As you know, my name is Hemant, and currently I'm, working as an assistant product manager in Brutally, right? And our team is like kind of a functional and the products team, we call it as.
Okay.
But we mostly front end the customer, not from the complete technical aspects. And we have almost like I'm currently handling around 13 people in my team now. And I am from Mandya. It is like 80 kilometers, far from Bangalore. Currently, I'm in the native only, and I'm just, connecting from here. That's all. And one beauty from my place is like it's famous for sugar. Because like sugar cane, we just everybody go here, and it's the one point from here.
Oh wow!
So,
Ujjwal was in Mandya 2 weeks back doing a training.
Yeah. So I was with this brand Jockey. They have their factory in Mandya.
Yes, yeah.
So,
right.
typically yeah. And of course, the organic and the farming is great. We were in the outskirts of the city. Yeah.
And Hemant, what is your one strength in leading your team?
I guess I can say like I can understand their actual need. Maybe basically understanding from their place what exactly they're facing. Maybe that I can understand what exactly they're feeling. That's what I can feel that's my strength. So that I can speak what exactly they wanted.
Okay.
Something like that.
Understanding their perspective, their needs.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right. Great, Hemant. Thank you so much. Who would like to go next? Suresh, we'd like you to go. I like that smile.
I'm waiting for Himaja.
I'm going last.
Things have changed, okay, nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay. Anuja, I'll go. This is Ram.
Yeah, hi Ram.
So I am from technology. I don't know what's my role, but wherever there's a problem, I have to get into it. So I have a small team. I am from Chennai, and the last point is very tricky one because it depends on individuals. Kind of the skills. Right? Keep motivating the team. Younger generation.
That's
Very important is encourage the younger generation to explore.
Okay,
That's very
motivating and encouraging team members. Thank you so much. In the interest of time, I'm moving forward, but in the actual session, we'll listen from you surely again. Right.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. I think the men go first in this session. So Ajay, Suresh, Hari, please, any of you. Ajay, I like your smile as well. Please go ahead. Unmute, please. Unmute. If you're on your phone, it's yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Currently I'm working as a product specialist. So my team, it's like it's functional as well as the technical team both together. And I handle team of close to 6 players.
Okay.
So basically I'm from KGF, Kolar Goldfields. The name itself, it suggests, it's famous. It was famous for gold.
It was famous for gold, yes. And also some Bangarpet charts, and you have a big
that's famous. Yes.
Shiva temple there with some 1 crore, whatever. I've seen all of that.
You have more information than me, actually.
I travel a lot, so very nice, Ajay. And what's your biggest strength when you lead your people?
So when it comes to strengths, I understand. My teammates, where their strength lies. I'll identify that, and based on that, I'll delegate the work to them. So till now, it's successful in that aspect. So that is one of the strengths. Yeah.
Very good. So leveraging your people's strength when you assign tasks to them. Okay. Very nice. Thank you, Ajay. We move on to Hari or Suresh. Hari goes first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi all. My designation is CIO, and I have a small team, but I work with everyone in the organization mostly. I touch each and every department and work with everyone.
Okay.
And my native is Arani. It's near Vellore, actually, Tamil Nadu. And Arani is famous for silks and rice.
Oh, okay.
At least maybe give a figure, there are 1,500 rice mills in our city, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Automated rice mills, actually. So it's a big city,
Not
big city. A lot of business happens in the city, actually. So
wow.
Strength is I work with the people down to them, actually, work with them, actually. I don't work above them, I work with them, actually. That's my strength.
Work with people rather than. And Hari, what is the span of your team? I mean, what is the direct reportees?
The direct reportees, as of now, they are in the manager category, like Suresh and Ram, actually. So,
Okay, I'm talking about number.
2
Okay.
direct reportees. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. This is just for us to understand. Sometimes people say we don't have a team, so we try to understand the pulse of the whole batch. Yeah. Thank you, Hari. Suresh?
Good evening, Suresh. So I'm head of operations for Blue Tree. So as Hari said, even I have to take care of in and out of everyone's request and has to support everyone. So I have a small team of 4 members.
Okay.
I'm from, my native is Pondicherry. So almost everyone knows the place. So I think no need to explain on that.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful.
My supporters care as well as supportive to the team, and then accountability and responsibility. That's it.
Very good. Accountability, responsibility, and supporting your team. Thank you so much. Himaja, could you go next?
Yeah, Shreya wants to go. Shreya?
We'll come to Shreya. Okay. All right.
Shreya?
Shreya, you are on mute, Shreya.
No, I was thinking, is there any special prize for going last? Himaja wants to go last. I don't know why.
By the time I'll decide.
If we were in a training room, I would give you a chocolate. I would throw a candy at you. Yes.
Okay, I think I'll just quickly have mine. So I guess Shreya is my name, which everyone knows by now. And yes, I am heading the HR team here. About 3 people who are reporting to me right now. And I am from Kolkata, basically West Bengal. So yeah, apart from the typical Rasgulla, which everyone says it's famous about, apart from that, there are a lot of other things. So I would say probably the festival Durga Puja is something which is really kind of famous in Kolkata, if I talk about that. So yes, and then talking about strength, for managing my team, I would say, anyway, I'm a people's person. It's not about my team. I mix up with all the other team departments, everyone, and that's how I manage my team also. So I make them very comfortable working with me and kind of guide them through in a day-to-day basis on what is, where they can focus on and how, they can probably achieve their target in that way. So yeah, that's all about.
Okay. Thanks, Shreya. And being a people's person is really, really needed, especially in HR. So you have the right skill set there about being a people person. Thank you so much. And last but not the least, Himaja.
Thanks, Anju. So I play multiple roles in Blue Tree, but I'm today going to stick with one of my predominant role, which is head of the product. Yeah. And we have about 20 plus people in our team. And my direct reportees would be about 5 people now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I am from Chennai. So if you ask me what is that about Chennai, a lot of things but which comes to my mind is beaches, temples, and food. I really miss those 3 from Chennai. And if you ask me about my leadership skill, I believe I try to bring out, or I try to, in my team, I try to bring out the leadership skills in each one of them. That's what I predominantly try to do also there. Rest has a lot of components to it, but that's where I focus more.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Imaja. Next week, mostly we are traveling to Chennai, and I was telling Ujjwal for a program that we must visit Marina Beach and have the lovely food because we are vegetarian and we love the food on the way to Chennai also. So yes, we agree to that. And making leaders of others is a great leadership trait too, like you said. So that's also appreciated. Thank you for sharing that. Now, the idea of telling you all to think about a leadership strength is to make people reflect that as leaders, what is it that we're doing well? There is some things we do well already. There are some challenges we have, which we need to overcome and learn through this program. But the idea is to just set the mind thinking onto me in my role of a people leader. That's very important. Now, without much wasting of time, I'd like to go ahead and so these are the norms we'd like. We want your wholehearted presence and participation. It's okay if you're relaxed. In fact, I like it if people are relaxed, even in their homes. But what is important is you participate. And then we listen, we respect all opinions. There's nothing right or wrong. As a team, we all discover more and more. And there's confidentiality. We all agree to it. There's the saying which says what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Basically, we all share openly. We don't take names, but we share working with leaders, good, bad, what are some of our strengths, all of that. And then there's a shared responsibility for success in our programs, and everybody pulls in. And then last but not the least, I think we'll all have fun, which is very important because learning happens in a relaxed environment. The learning objectives of this module are to understand your role as a people leader and appreciate the change in mindset and skills needed when we look at the leadership pipeline model, which I'll be taking you through in a bit. The various styles of leading people through the situational leadership model, very similar in line to what Ram just said in a few lines, but that's the gist of situational leadership. But we are going to go deep dive into it. And I believe that any model or anything that you learn is as good as its applicability at the workplace. So if you have certain people challenges, you have performance issues, you have people with attitude, you have people who are inconfident, new, tenured, who've lost their, there are tenured members who suddenly lose their interest. We look at a wide variety of people issues, people challenges, but through the lens of the situational leadership model. So we cover the model in about 5-10 minutes, which is the 4 styles of leading people. And then we just share various challenges and see how those 4 styles can help you in overcoming those issues with people that you have at the workplace. And if anyone says there are no people issues, well, then I need to learn from you, because having led teams for almost 25 years, I think, I have enough of them to share stories from my side as well. And I wish I learned situational leadership when I think I was leading teams for about 6-7 years. And I went, I wish I'd known some of this before. I wouldn't have made those wrong moves, in giving feedback, in, managing performance and all of that. Apply the leadership styles to various real life situations and discuss key challenges in people related issues and how to overcome them. So it's a very practical session in that sense. Now, this we would actually we had prepared breakout rooms with 3 each, with 9. But now, since we are a really small group, and the time is short, I would just request you to share one key challenge that you have in leading teams or leading people. Just one challenge. If you want to share, you can share, or you want to just put in chat a few words, just for us to know. Otherwise, we take it as a 10 to 15 minute activity online. In the training room, we take it as a 25-minute activity. So please share your one biggest challenge in leading people. And if anyone's a manager, an employee, or a boss and team member here, please feel free to still share your challenges.
That's a very it's a very key one. See, if a reportee is not given a work where he is good at or confident at, then it's a real challenge.
I agree. I just want to add to, yeah, taking ownership, right? Taking initiative, taking ownership. People just come to work saying, okay, I need my salary at the end of the month. What is important is for them to understand that this organization is there to develop you, to a platform for you to learn. And, I always feel a good team member is someone who should actually give the best to the organization, because the organization is giving you in return, your salary, your learning platform, your development, your exposure, your experience, everything. So it's important. But that we do for junior levels, where we actually tell them what are the qualities of a good team player and how you should give back to your organization with your 100% in your best way. So for a team leader, yes, that's a challenge for them to take initiative and not come to work just because I have a 9 to 5 job and go back home and that's it. So beyond that, going that extra mile for your team, for your organization. Appreciate that, Ram. And Himaja on the same lines, making them take ownership. Okay, that is a challenge. All right. Others, one word, one line. Heman, what's your biggest challenge in leading a team? What's an issue with team members that you face?
No, I was just thinking, basically, like one is like equally distributing the work. Sometimes what happens, like when we go with somebody, right? Say, for example, if I have 5 to 10 people in the team, and if you find out like some are working good, like we always go with them. We'll just, will not focus much about the other category of the people, right? So I think that's the one challenge. Like, how do we equalize and make them also comfortable and working with us? That is something I think is a challenge as of now.
Very true. I just want to. I had 2 people. I'm giving a small example in Capgemini, where my last role was. I had 2 people who were such good performers. They would come to me every 3-4 times a day. Every 3-4 hours, they'd be in my room. So I thought, wow, they are the best. They are my trusted people. Any new global assignment would come, I would give it to them. Till one day, actually, in a performance appraisal, one of the others, he was a guy who was an average performer, and I never thought I should focus on him, help him develop. He actually told me, so I'm sharing my failures, so you don't do the same. He actually told me, but Anju, you only focus on Soumya and Meenakshi. I have this strong feeling you're biased towards them. And because they're 2 smart ones and the really high performers were women, he said, is it because you were biased towards women? Or is it because you were biased towards, I feel they are too close to you, even to the extent of saying they butter you up and all. So there was some conflict which I was not aware of. That made me realize that, hey, you know what? Just because someone's a good performer and keeps in touch with you more doesn't mean you ignore the others. So yeah, you're right. And that has to be done consciously, Hemant. I understand. We look at those in the situational leadership module. Excellent. Others, quickly, one challenge.
Well,
Yes, sir.
there will be so many deadlines, we will be working on so many deadlines, and even our team members, they'll stretch and they'll work. In those situations, it's like how to motivate them, such that they can just keep up that spirit and they can focus more. So,
okay, motivating people. Maybe I'll include a small module on motivation later, which is a very time-tested module. Yeah, motivating people or inspiring people. There's a slight difference, but they just come and they do their work. They sometimes don't they don't meet deadlines, and they're just not there, presence fully. So, okay, motivating your people to perform more and more or perform better. Because see, why am I using the word performance? Whatever we learn in this whole thing is finally about bottom line is performance, right? What we want as organizations, what do we want as people leaders? It's good to have your cake cutting ceremonies. It's good to have your team building. It's good to bond. But finally, what matters is how are they performing, right? That's what matters to you. And if they perform well, you perform well. So your success relies on how good, how successful they are. That's why it's important to learn how to lead people properly for performance. And we call it leading people for performance because it's all about the performance issues. Thank you so much, Ajay, for that. Quick, I think I won't go because I will not be able to go into the module then. One more, I saw Shreyar's comment here, being proactive and sharing information on time. Is it from their side or from your side as a leader?
No, it's basically from the team. I mean, when the team size are more, and if they know that they have to come back with a certain information based on which probably I have to work on or my decision will be there. So I want my team, to make it from their side. It's not like I should go back and ask for the feedback or ask for the remarks. It should come from their side. So that is somewhere a lot of time goes waste in just calling and checking and follow up on that. So yeah, I think that's one of the challenges which I face sometimes.
Okay, yeah, being proactive and sharing information from their side to you. Okay, all right, great. Anyone else wants to go or we can move? Suresh, do you want to share something about a challenge?
Making people think out of the box so that they can do work smart.
Okay, all right. Yeah, work smarter, be more creative, be more innovative, right? Okay, Hari, anything in a one line?
Yeah, I go with motivation. Motivating people is recharging stuff.
Yeah. Motivating them, right? Thank you so much. So this gives an idea of what we need to cover. Apart from what we have, obviously, we'll focus on some of your challenges. Your role as a people leader. Now, here, before I go further into the leadership pipeline model, which we're going to talk about, I would like you to reflect on this. Again, it's a reflection activity, so you can share in chat or just a one-liner. Think of the time when you were an individual contributor. Like we all started with individual contributor, maybe way back, but at some time we started as an individual contributor, and then one day we were promoted to leading a team. So, what were the changes? The main one change in your way of working or in the skills that you needed? Okay, what were the change that you encountered at that time? Did you do something different or you continued doing what you were doing as an individual contributor? I'll just take an answer from one person. What was the biggest change when you moved from individual contributor to a people leader?
Well, yeah, I mean, following up with people, that was one of the biggest change. Earlier, it's like we were assigned some task and we used to concentrate, focus on that, and we used to accomplish that. But now, I mean, following up with others, getting that done, that's the biggest change. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You actually stole my words. Ram, very true. Start thinking about other people rather than yourself. Very true. So I will tell you a few instances or a few stories here. So you were a happy individual contributor coming to work, you had your set of tasks to do, and you would sit and say, okay, today I need to finish all of this and all that. And then suddenly one day, because so I was a cliche called coding, in IT companies, you were a coder. And you used to code, go to office and do all your tasks and go home happily, And then because you were one of the best technology guys, one day they make you a team leader and you have 15 people under you. And out of this 15, 10 and 11 were your best friends who are now your team members whom you're leading. So you're so happy to get this promotion. You take your friends out for a dinner, you take your wife and your kids for a dinner saying, hey, I got a promotion. And 2 weeks later, you just say, oh my God, what did I get into? I thought I have so much work. If I have a team, I will have no work. I'll be so happy. I can be so relieved. I can go home on time. If I have 15 people, I'll give work to 15 people. But you wonder, where have I gotten to? Performance issues, goal setting, monitoring performance, giving feedback. The toughest thing in a leader's life, I'm saying that for me it is, I'm sure you would appreciate that, is giving negative feedback or feedback on poor performance. How do you do that without hurting or harming the person, without by being sensitive and all of that. We teach that as well. One of the toughest conversations that a leader needs to do. So all of that gamut. And then you say, oh my God, I was so happy being an individual contributor. I say it's the same thing, the same feeling when you got married, you were a happy bachelor. You could go to Goa or wherever you want with your friends. One day you got married. Now you can't really think of going to Goa, packing your bags and going, right? And then one day, guess what? You have one kid. And then you have two kids. What's the kind of feeling? Which is the key word that comes up. Responsibility, right? A sense of responsibility. Now it's not about me, it's about comfort and so much more for others. That's what Ram said. It's not about the self now, it's about others. That same feeling or that same responsibility is needed here. You are responsible for 15 more people if you have a team of 15 and their progress, their development, their career, everything, that is the. So one more story here I'd like to share is Jack Welch. Anyone knows who was Jack Welch? People today know Jeff Bezos and all that. Jack Welch? Yeah. GE, right? The head of Genpact, General Electric. So Jack Welch was actually heading up one of the smaller subsidiary companies, but because he was so aggressive and he got so much of, made his organization so successful that they promoted him to the group CEO of the entire group of GE, Genpact. Now, he's written many books. One of his books, which I really recommend to everyone on leading people, is the book called Winning. It's a simple book, but he shares how to hire people, the right people, how to not tolerate poor performance, and what should you do if you have poor performance. Very good book. One of my CEOs in Accenture, I was reporting directly to him for 2 years, and he ordered this book 40 copies. He picked up this book in those days from New York. It had just come on the stands. He finished the whole book in the flight from New York to Bangalore, and he asked his PA to order 40 copies. Till today, I think it's one of the best books on leading people. So I would really recommend that. In that, it's very similar to what Ram shared. In fact, I have that quote here. This is exactly what I think Ram wrote. Before you're a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. And when you come from that mindset of making others succeed, I tell you, that is where your success is. Because they're looking to you for help. They're looking to you for their career development, their learning, all of that. And you have to do that whole gamut to be a successful leader. So this is one of the best quotes on leadership that I really like. And that sums up your responsibility as a leader. This is the book, if you ever want to know from Amazon or wherever. This is the book I really recommend. Now, in this book, there is one small story which is very relevant here. So Jack Welch says, you're a happy individual contributor. And then, not during pre-COVID times, obviously, you go to the coffee dispenser with your colleagues. And at the coffee dispenser, what do? You just gossip with your peers, right? When you're an individual contributor. What do you gossip about? Oh, that management and those changes they bring and they do this and that. I think you shared this story the other day. And guess what? You say, oh, but they are doing this, they are doing that. What a silly change to bring about and all that. And then one day he says, from individual contributor, you're made into a manager. And he says, now when you go to the dispenser, who do you gossip about? Who is the they? They are doing this, they are doing that. You can't, because now people look up to you as leadership, as management, taking those decisions. So he says it's not that easy. Now you are really looked at as a role model and people will talk about whatever you do. So the responsibility is all the more. Now, having said that, I asked this question about what is the biggest change. Then we lead into this leadership pipeline model. What is a leadership pipeline? It's a really good book. Many companies have used this as like Fidelity and all, use this as a model for the whole organization. Any people leader has to undergo this, learn about this model. Now, this was written by Ram Charan, Trotter, and Noel. It's famous for these three, management consultants, and they did a lot of research and then came up with this. What Charan and Roger and Noel are saying is that in any leader's life, okay, in any leaders, from the time you're an individual contributor to the time you become the group CEO, there are 6 big turnings. And if you, in these turnings, you need to change 2 things: the way you manage your time and the way you acquire more skills. These 2 things are very important, and that's called change of mindset. Now, are these 6 turnings hierarchies or organization chart changes? No. They're saying irrespective. It could be a 100 people organization or as big as Genpact, 500,000 employees across the globe. These are 6 turnings that need change of skills. Now, first is managing self, which is individual. You need to manage yourself, your work, your time, your tasks, your goals, everything. Then one day you become a team leader and you have to manage others. And this is a big turning where you need a change of mindset. Then after that, managing others, you start managing managers, which means the people in your team are again having people under them. And according to him, this is to these people, to these authors, it's a very big change, because what you do here will impact not only these people, your direct reportees, but also the people under them. So that's a big change. Then functional manager is like a functional expertise, like for example, heading HR, that's a function. And then a business manager where you need to manage the bottom line. So suddenly profits are part of your goals. So that's another turning. Group manager is an entire company by itself. An enterprise, or you could say vice versa, is a set of companies, like Ratan Tata or something like that. So without going much further, I think these 2 are very important for people leaders: manage the individual contributor, managing individuals, and managing managers. Now, I'll quickly go further in this. What are the changes you need here? So they say that when you move from individual contributor to leading a team, you should change the way you manage your time. Now you must learn to allocate time not only for your assigned work, but you should keep time in your schedule for helping others perform effectively. How much time in your day do you manage only your to do, and how much time do you help others manage their to do? That is important. So distribute your time between your work and helping others do their work. Second is change of skills. What skills do you need? You don't need coding. You need to drop your technical expertise now. You need to shift from doing work to getting work done. And that's the biggest dilemma. I tell you, doing work to getting work done. We have a module on delegation, and there I say the biggest dilemma is, should I do this or should I delegate? And in delegation, I lead people deeper into this topic, into this dilemma. Why do you not delegate? That is important. And we'll go that when we do that later. But my take on delegation is that the word leadership and delegation is synonymous. The day you become a leader, you're supposed to delegate. I'll tell you why. Because if you don't delegate, then you might as well be an individual contributor. The fact that you've been given a team, that means you should delegate. So if you continue coding, cliche, okay, then there's no point in having a team under you. And that delegation itself is an art, a skill, which I take people into. The way you give a task, you can give a task like this, saying, hey, you know what? I think from tomorrow you need to take this on your plate. And he'll say, okay, my boss is dumping stuff. Or you give it with such an honor. You give it with a skill where you tell people, hey, you know what? You are the right person and we've chosen you to do this project or this assignment. So I take people through that entire skill of how a delegation conversation should be, where the person feels honored to be given this task or this project rather than being dumped upon. So that we do in that leadership communication model. Let's look at this first, which is very interesting, very important from a people leader's perspective. So you need to shift from doing work to getting work done from others. At the most 60 to 40, 60 about leading people and 40 individual contributor work at the most, And then change your work values. What do you value? what is the work that you value doing? If you still value coding, then you are in the wrong role. Now you should love managerial work. You should love people. You should love guiding and coaching and supporting and directing people. That's what your role is. And if you think it's like a headache or a burden, then I'm sorry, you haven't made the turn. And what Ramcharan says is, if you don't change that mindset and the way you work, then this pipeline gets clogged, and organizations start feeling the heat here at the top levels. That's why all the organizations, Goldman Sachs, Accenture, wherever I was, the first thing when I joined as a head of training, my CEO called and said, "Can you please help do a people leader program? Can you do a first line manager?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm doing it, but why?" And then they said, "That is where the crux is. This, if it's corrected, the change in mindset happens, then the whole organization works well." So, what I say is that if you don't make this turn, then your organization actually suffers in a way. So all these turns are very important, and that's where organizations call it, we are building a leadership pipeline. The second turning quickly here, managing others to managing managers. Now what is the biggest change? Now managers must only manage, divest themselves of individual tasks. If 90% of it is my task list and 10% is others, no. What they're saying is, you have to let go of that 60-40, I said, no, 40 individual and 60 leading people. He's saying divest that 40 also. You know why? What's your key role here as manager of managers? It's about helping these team leaders to lead their teams well, and helping them turn the passage one. So these guys, you have to help them to manage this passage or transition. And then learning to hold first line managers accounting for, all of this, what I just said, you have to help them. I just want to ask one thing here. Many of you would be manager or managers, so I'm delving a bit deeper here. What is it that you actually talk about? Suppose you're a manager of managers. So if I had a whiteboard, I would say, you're a manager of managers, you have a set of team leaders here, and you have team leaders who have individual contributors under them. What do you think is the conversation that you're having with your team leaders mostly about? Hemant, you are a manager, right? Or you have a team. Who's your manager above you?
Yeah, my manager is Imaja.
Himaja.
She's
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Excellent. Now you go to Himaja. Okay, you have a team. What does Himaja talk to you about, or what do you talk to her about mostly?
Like, it will be related to the works. Like, say for example, if I'm stuck somewhere which is unable to handle it from my side, right? I usually gets the feedback or idea from her to deal that particular
So problem solving is okay. There must be a lot of operational issues and other issues, which is fine. But you have a team under you. What do you talk to her about?
I generally, like, I'll just say, like, my team, like, what is their strength, and if somebody is not performing well, or if somebody is performing good, like maybe giving her an idea like who is performing good, so that appreciation or something to be improved, right? So those kind of stuff, like, we generally speak.
Absolutely, that's where I was coming from. So we do it as an activity. We find out that when you're a manager of managers, your key conversation is about who is not performing, who is a problem in the team, how do you handle this problem. You have someone who's very egoistic, who's arrogant, who's not coming, who's taking leave, all those kind of things. Those issues you'll discuss and say what to do. When during performance appraisal, you'll go to Himaja and say, I want to give good rating to this one. She'll say, no, maybe this one. So you know what I mean? This is the things that we talk to team leaders about their teams and all of that. So, okay. Hari left, is it? Okay, fine. We're done 8:03. Sorry, I just got carried away in these topics. I'm so passionate. If you want, we'll stop here. Or if you give me 2 minutes, I'll close this topic. Is that okay? 2 more minutes? If it's interesting.
I have a hard stop, Anju. So
Okay.
if you...
okay. Then I'll just show this one liner and then that's done. Okay. Just one more thing, then it's done with the topic. So here, when I was talking about this thing, the transition, there's something very interesting Ramcharan has given. What are the things that what are the signs that you did not make the turn? You did not change your way of working. When you view people as interruptions, If your team members come up to you, you call it an interruption. You try to not take their calls. You cut off meetings with them from your calendar. You try to fix their mistakes instead of teaching them how to fix mistakes. You refuse to take ownership of their success. So all of these are the signs that show that, I want to go further. These are the signs that you haven't made that turn, and we learn a lot from this. So bottom line, I say that you are responsible for their success. They are not your team members. So Stephen Covey, in one of his books, was saying, you call them partners in my success. When you look at them as partners, because when they are successful, you're successful. Hence, the best words you can use is, as a leader of a team, is, how can I help you succeed? Tell me, I'm here to help you succeed. I tell you, these 4 magical words will make you a really good leader. Then we go into situational leadership and all of that. So thank you for being a good audience, and I'm sorry I rushed through all this in the demo. I hope it was useful.
Thanks, Anju. Thanks. It was interesting session. So I'll also speak to rest of the participants here, and this recorded video also will be sharing with our other members who couldn't join. So we will take their feedback also, and we'll come back to you. Yeah.
Sure. Himaja, we also do a lot of questions. So I would have stopped and asked, do you have any questions on this? Hemant, do you want any? And then we do breakout rooms, and then we do videos. So there are a lot more activities, but I can only do this much in a 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. We have got a gist of it, how it is going to be, because that was the intention of getting into this, how the session is going to be. And somewhere I feel, okay, now after attending the session, it could be possible over the video, over virtual also. So maybe me and Shreya will have a discussion, and then we'll get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, over video sometime, or on Zoom or online, you can do many modules, different modules.
Yeah, we are trying to do something in between, some modules virtual and something we can do physical, which has more needed physically, right? So those kind of things, we will also come back to you on that also with a couple of options.
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.